and safe to use. This webinar is sponsored by Know Your Farm Hands. I am your host, Folake Aino, the MD of VD&S Farms, VD&S Feed Mill, and VD&S Farmers Center. VD&S Farmers Center is a one-stop input shop for both subsistence and commercial farmers. VD&S Farmers Center is an agrovet center that partners with reputable companies to provide high-quality seeds and other products for crop and livestock healthcare needs. Together with Royal Blue Contractors, both companies are sole importers of high-quality certified East-West seeds to Nigeria. VD&S Farmers Center is also involved in sales and marketing, distributions of seed, seedlings, fertilizer, growth media, agrochemicals, biochemicals, irrigation drips and accessories, veterinary medication, vaccines, animal feeds, additives, drugs, biosecurity products, poultry and livestock equipment, and other agricultural inputs with nationwide delivery options. VD&S Farmers Center also offers mentorship, training, consultancy, extension services, and veterinary ambulatory. VD&S Farmers Center is located along Ikorodu-Itoikin Road in Epe, Lagos. It is opposite Citizens Comprehensive College. For more information about our products and services, please visit www.vdsfarmsonline.com. Now we will take a short message from our sponsors, Know Your Farm Hands. Know Your Farm Hands, please.
Meet Ayo, a businessman with lots of stocks and investments. Amongst his properties are the hectares of land before him. As the risk taker he is, Ayo invested 50% on mixed farming, 20% on livestock production, and 30% on crop farming, all in a hope to get more returns on investments and cash out. To commence work, Ayo put out a signboard and hired anyone who looked fit and agile enough to him. It all felt like things were working out. But things did not turn out like Ayo hoped. He was spending more than he was getting, losing more than he was winning, and he questioned why. It was later revealed to Ayo that his farm hands had been duping him, stealing the produce and earning from it all. He realized it was all his fault. He had simply hired without doing any background check to determine their worthiness. Almost bankrupt, Ayo decided to quit. Later, he meets Joy, who introduces the Know Your Farm Hands app to him and tells him he could better know his farm hands before recruiting them. Know Your Farm Hands is an application that guides a farm owner on recruitment of farm hands with reference to their previous experiences and farmers' encounters about them. Know Your Farm Hands offers seamless means of getting farm hands data before recruiting them. In it, previous employers' review of the employee are uploaded and available to new employers. Not just that, farmers can also appraise their farm hands for the benefit of other farmers that might want to employ them in the future. You can verify the experience of your about-to-be employed farm hands on the application by just searching with his first name or phone number to get all his data, including his picture, previous farm name, employer, and his review. To get started, download the application for free on Google Play Store. For more information or support, send a mail to support@knowyourfarmhands.ng or visit our website at knowyourfarmhands.ng or call 0905 399 4937 or 0705 368 0191. With Know Your Farm Hands application, Ayo could really cash out and have returns on his investment. With Know Your Farm Hands, farm owners can allay their fears about their farm hands.
Thank you. Can the host please mute all participants? Thank you. Thank you, Know Your Farm Hands. So we're going into the seminar proper. But before we start, I'd like to just mention a few guidelines for the webinar. Because we would like to have an uninterrupted and a seamless session, we would please implore the host to mute all participants upon entry. All questions and comments, clarifications, suggestions, etc. should please be typed and sent via chat. We will collate all of this and read out and we will respond to them during the question and answer session. We would like you to please make your questions brief and clear to understand. If we have time after, we can take contributions from a few people for the facilitator to speak on. Now, a major challenge faced by crop farmers today is attack by pests, and which, if not tackled promptly and properly, can result in reduced or total loss of yield and consequently the income to the farmer. In order to prevent this, farmers have over the years adopted various means of pest control, including the use of chemical pesticides. Unfortunately, however, a large percentage of farmers do not take into consideration the information provided by manufacturers on the label. Some do not just understand, nor can they interpret the information, which in many cases lead to misuse or abuse of such products, which can inadvertently reduce its effectiveness or create health hazards to the consumers of the produce. Hence, VD&S has come up with this all-important session in order to sensitize our farmers on the proper use of pesticides for effective results while protecting consumers and the environment. Without further ado, I would like to welcome our speaker for today, Mr. Damilola Adetola. Mr. Adetola is an agronomist who is engaged in vegetable production and its entire value chain. He holds a bachelor's degree in agriculture, specifically plant physiology and crop production from the Federal University of Agriculture in Abeokuta, Ogun State. He started his career as a technical field officer with Harvest Field Industries Limited and positively impacted many smallholder farmers, cascading down his knowledge on good agricultural practices. Mr. Adetola has introduced improved technologies in vegetable production to numerous farmers in Lagos and Ogun states. In his quest to train and have direct contact with over 5,000 farmers annually, Mr. Akintola runs production demonstration trials with improved technologies on 4 hectares of land in Agboa and calls for farmers' field days twice in a year. Now, I have been to a couple of field days on Mr. Adetola's farm, and I have always been awed at the detailed care and attention that he gives to his vegetables. And of course, this we see translates to good fruits and high yields and bumper harvests for him. Mr. Adetola is the executive sales representative at East West Seed International, and he currently manages the activities of East West Seed in the Southwest and Southeastern states of Nigeria. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Adetola Damilola. Mr. Dami, right. You have the floor.
All right, thank you very much, ma. Awesome. Okay, maybe you should just exit your screen while I put my on. All right, awesome. Awesome. All right, so good afternoon or good evening, everybody. Awesome to meet everybody in the house, right? My name is Damilola Adetola, like she rightly said. Okay, let me on my video. All right, I think you can see my face, right? Okay, so just to dive in, no proper introduction again, standing on all the existing protocol. I would just like to dive into the topic at its being slated that we all wanted to hear today. All right, so I'll be talking about pesticide recommendation, label, and safety use, right? As you can see, this topic, it is being divided into maybe 3 parts, as you can see on my screen, right? But I will run pari passu because this is a webinar, is not a classroom. This kind of topic we can use up to 4 or 5 hours trying to dissect, even a particular, one shade of it, maybe pesticide alone, or talking about recommendation. Recommendation you can use 1 month because study has to still even go on pesticide recommendation. All right, so but in the space of maybe 30 minutes, I'm just going to run through this. I think you can hear me, right? 30 minutes, I'm going to run through this. Can you hear me more? Just
yes,
one feedback.
Yes,
all right,
clearly.
Awesome. All right, so within 30 minutes, we're just going to dive into this, trying to take a structure for us to be able to build on. If you can take this hook and sinker, right, I'm very sure that you can build up on every other thing that you need to know around pesticide recommendation, label, and safety use. All right, so I will just move. All right, so what is the learning objective in this conversation that we want to have today? Number 1, all right, so at the end of the season, participants should be able to understand kinds of different pesticides, right? You need to know. All right, then usage and recommendation of different pesticides. All right, so you need to know about pesticide label and how you're going to use them appropriately, that you will not have toxic effects for yourself or to the consumer that will eat the end of the conversation, the product that you are trying to produce at the end of the day. Sorry, I'm a Yoruba, and a Yoruba needs a particular adage used to say, thing about soko soja, meaning that if you throw stone in the market, you don't know who is there, maybe it's your family. So if you are giving somebody toxic items to eat on the farm, or sorry, in the market, it might be even your house that your wife or your friend will go and buy, and you need to donate for them to be able to maybe on dialysis or run any tests for the person. So that's why we are here. All right, so one of the reasons why we are here. So what are the outlines? So we'll be able to define or describe pesticide as it is, right? Then number 2, we'll be able to talk around the right, the R, I call them 7 R's, right? In pesticide usage, right? Right pest problem identification, right pesticide, right mixing of pesticide solution, right timing, right hygiene, right storage, and right disposal. Be able to just run all through this, then just add one or few things, then we'll have question and answer, maybe or other contribution that we'll be able to have. So what is pesticide? So pesticide, or maybe before I should go on, I should be able to open up part of the conversation. One person to just describe what is pest before I go on to what is pesticide. One person, you can raise up your hand in 30 seconds, tell me what is pest or what are pests. Anybody? Anybody? Still waiting. Did I have the audience? Did I have the audience? What is pest? All right, so maybe, I don't know, maybe due to protocol, you might not be able to unmute yourself, right? That's why I asked you to raise up your hand so we can unmute you. But I will not be able to wait because of the timing. All right, so what are pests? Everybody know pests. Maybe it might be human being, it might be, I'm paraphrasing, human being, it might be pet, it might be animal, it might be plant, it might be anything that will not allow you to, that is giving you problem on your farm, that will not allow you to have your maximum yield at the end of the day, because this gain center is high yield, and you know if there's high yield, you'll be able to talk around the return, which is the profit at the end of the day. So to say that, so pesticide are substances, it can be either organic or inorganic, that are meant to control pests on the field. So you can really say that, okay, this is the solution of what will not allow you to have maybe voluntary control what you can control, right? That will not maybe to have your good yield at the end of the day. So what are the kinds of pesticides? So we have insecticide, and maybe I'm still going to dwell more on these groups of pesticide. The example of pesticide, I'm still going to dwell more on it later. So don't let me run maybe either class 4A or class 5A, as the case may be. I'm still going to talk about that later. I know what farmers know is either I want to buy sapamentry, I want to buy karate, I want to buy Lara Force Good, or I want to buy sharpshooter. That's what you know. But more than that, this class or this webinar is going to let you know more around just going to say I want to buy any other thing that you want to go and buy in the agro store. So another pesticide that we can talk about, they are herbicide, because then there are some weed on the farm that they are alternative hosts to maybe pathogens or they are host to disease. And majority of us, if you know disease control, you'll be able to understand that without a particular host, there can be disease. So there are disease triangle where if one of them is not favorable, then there can be disease on your farm. So we have rodenticide, where maybe you have problem with rodents, maybe rats, maybe grass cutter, maybe squirrel, they are rodenticide. And the last one is fungicide. I know you want to talk about major disease, maybe nematicide. You can still add it because it is disease. Nematicide, it can still cause disease. I just would, I didn't really want to dwell on that today. I just want to dwell more strength on insecticide, right? So that's why I didn't add nematicide into the list. It's still part of pesticide that you can really talk about. All right, so what is the first R that we need to talk about in this conversation, in this webinar? The first R is pest problem identification. Pest problem identification. When I was preparing this slide, I was thinking that we'll be able to have maybe few way of interactive station, but on the same note, I know that it can really distract the audience, that will not allow us to have a good conversation or communication at the end of the day. So I'll just run through what I have, trying to explain proper. So I said the first one is pest problem identification. So if you I'm talking about insecticide now, so don't mind me if I'm just focusing on insecticide, because that's what I want to say, because the topic is very broad, right? I can't finish it in 30 minutes, so just permit me to take only insecticide today. So if I have time, I can still come back and talk about maybe fungicide, talk about maybe disease, as the case may be, if the time still permits, because we know if either Jesus or the end of the world did not come yet, we still have time to run series of webinar. All right, so identifying either insect or disease is very, very important, right? So understand either it is pest infestation. Some people, it's just pest that is disturbing them in the farm. They started spraying fungicide on their farm. So maybe you need to understand perfectly how insects affect your crop, or when you have it to turn to disease, right? But the first stage is maybe insect infestation. After the aggressive effect of insect, you don't take care of it, right? You might need to now have disease problem, majorly maybe viruses, right? Viruses, three top problem in virulent insects, maybe whitefly. You can talk about thrips. You can talk about aphids. They are just top insect problem and I just label 3 of them to be here. All right, the next one is maybe you need to identify the disease as well. Understand the disease, either it's leaf spot or you're talking about downy mildew. Can be different disease when you want to, before you start applying your pesticide. All right, sorry, I need to get here. All right, so let me just run through few identification that you can know. All right, so look at the back of these leaves, right? So the first one that you are looking at is aphids, right? Aphids, you can look at the back. When you look at the back of the leaves, you can see something yellow. Another species of this aphids, they can be black white, but they used to come in their packs, not one, not two, they will just load themselves at the back of the leaves, right? And if you're seeing the top of the leaves shrinking, right? So they can need not to use that is saying that it is aphids. All of us we know this excava caterpillar, right? It is along all vegetable classes. It can be pandemic if you don't take care of it as soon as possible, right? Leaf miner, everybody knows leaf miner. Leaf miner comes a lot in different stages, but majorly in vegetables, you can see more of leaf miner maybe in their physiology state at early stage, maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks after you transplant, they start noticing leaf miner on your field, maybe at the end part when you know you cannot spray again because the fruit are forming, they're about to be harvested. Then you can still see leaf miner. Everybody know this guy. This guy is very popular on every farm. Whiteflies, it can be there in the dry season. Yeah, it can be there. But if you have whitefly on your farm in the rainy season, maybe a lot of cassava has been in your around you. But normally, whitefly doesn't come in rainy season. There's another leaf miner. There's another leaf miner that can really talk around. The admin, please, you can keep adding people to the webinar. A lot of people are waiting. All right, so sorry for that distraction. All right, so Tuta absoluta is another kind of leaf miner that is that you can really talk about. But thank God in the south, performance in the south, we are not, except for the part in maybe Nundu. Maybe in Nundu, I've seen a lot of cases of leaf miner in Tuta absoluta in Ondo nowadays, right? I've seen a whole lot of leaf miner in Ondo in the case study, but yet there's curative measure on taking care of leaf miner, right? So the last one here is red spider mite, right? Talking about, so if you can just have this majorly. So majorly, this is just the top 6 pests or insect pests, let me say insect pests that disturb tomato production. If you can have these 6 in your palm, I'm very sure to convince you that you'll be able to have a good production without distorting of insects. I'm not saying other insects might not likely come, but these are the top 6 that if you can take care of them, you can have smooth roof or smooth cruise in tomato production. Let me just pick another crop, then I'll run. Cucumber, same guy that is there. Aphids can disturb cucumber so much. Caterpillar, yes, you can see the bruise. And once there is bruise, you just start seeing the yellow patches. And cucumber is nice when it is yellow. So it is green. So when cucumber is yellow, it's nobody wants to buy it from you when it is too yellow, except in South market where they like is light green, not yellow. When cucumber is yellow, is a problem. All right, leaf miner is there too. You can see the guy and look around that's how you know leaf miner. You will see the working part, right? It's different from tuta. Tuta is bigger. Working part of tuta is bigger than the ordinary leaf miner. You can see whitefly too is there. Thrips, yes. When you see your cucumber that is getting this kind of shape, maybe either coil. 2 things can do this in cucumber. Either the thrips have started earlier, deforming the pollination process, trying to abort the flowers, but trying to work on the flower. At the end of the day, you can see this guy coughing like this, or he's having a pointed mouth. Yeah, it can cause it. Or another thing that can cause this is just water. Maybe you are not giving too much water to your cucumber. But most importantly, when you are seeing cucumber coughing like this, you have thrips on your field. Beetles, this guy is bad, right? You can see a whole lot of this trying to peck the cucumber at the initial runs of the cruise. All right. Another thing you need to really consider, how you need to consider is the right pesticide you need to spray, right pesticide that you need to spray along that cough, right? You need to know. All right, so you just know if it is insect, you know it is insecticide. If it is disease, maybe fungi, you need to know that it is fungicide that it is. What maybe nematode is inside of soil. Maybe that's why it's inside of soil. and you need to take care of nematode, maybe a disease-resistant variety that can take care of nematode they are, and which we have in East-West portfolio, or they are nematicide, right, in the market where you need to use earlier, because if you are using nematicide so late, it can't be cured. Maybe max 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you need to use nematicide on time. All right, so general advice that will give us maybe take home, always read the label. Please don't just buy and go home. Always read the label. All right, alternate mode of action. What I mean is that I'm still going to talk about this mode of action later in my slide where all you just know is just to go and buy one chemical, right? They have classes, right? If you bought sapametrin, you bought lambda cyhalothrin. Okay, for example, you bought, I don't want to talk about brand name. You bought sapametrin, you bought lambda cyhalothrin. Let me give you an example so you can understand. Maybe you bought, is doctor there? Doctor, you can unmute. What is the example of sapametrin you have in the store? Sapametrin, example. Is doctor there?
Cyperphos.
All right, thank you. Cyperphos. Maybe you have Cyperphos from Phosphorus Jubilee. Then you bought lambda cyhalothrin. What is the lambda cyhalothrin? What example of lambda cyhalothrin in the store? Okay, maybe karate from Syngenta, and you bought it and you went to go and spray. Maybe this week you spray Cyperphos, the next week you spray karate. You are just trying to spray. I was telling you that you are spraying almost the same thing. Maybe you are trying to, you said you should use alternate to take care of a particular thing, not to build resistance on it. You need to alternate what you are spraying. And that thing will still take care of the same thing at the end of the day that we are talking about. All right, so not to build resistance. Okay, the next thing you need to check is WHO color label to avoid where most importantly, Nigeria doesn't even care. They even put the red and we still go for it. If I say you should try to avoid anything that has been labeled red, right? Which is very, very poisonous. But yet, it does not mean that if you have a whole lot of issues on your farm, you cannot use it, right? Maybe let it be earlier, because the toxic effect is so much, right? Let it be highest, maybe second to third week. You are not using that kind of, or you use it as pre-planting before you plant at all, before you sow at all, you use that kind of pesticide, right? The last thing that I'll be mentioning is if unsure, ask the advice from the expert. You can ask from anybody in the store that same question before you go with any pesticide from the store. All right, always read the label when you buy. Always read the label when you are mixing. Always read the label when you want to apply. Always read the label when you want to store. Always read the label before you dispose. All right, so look around the color chart I was saying the other time. Red means, right, poison. All right, so the yellow, you can still use, that's category 2, right? You can still use it, but it is slightly poisonous. All right, so if you are seeing this green, blue is saying danger, but you need to know. All right, if you are seeing green, just the caution. So majority of the green are fungicide that you see. All these things, red, yellow, and blue, right? They are likely insecticide, where we are talking about how dangerous they are, and so human health. All right, so let me just open up when I talk about important information in pesticide label. So when you are buying any label, any pesticide, just check it. This is how it will look like, right? This is the standard, except from a lot of issues that we are having about our standard in Nigeria, where anything can just come, they can just go and print label in motion and label anything for us. But the original, how it look like, look around the product name, it will be here. Product name is just a product name, right? It can be a brand name. All right, let me just say a brand name can just be a product name, right? Brand name. After that, you can see a manufacturer name. Manufacturer name is the company that produced a particular brand. It does not mean that's the only brand the company is producing. They can have more than 5 brands. Yet it's still the same company. So it's just a way where manufacturer can differentiate their market. Maybe one name is not entering one particular market and they just want to change the name and they don't want to kill the other name. So they can just package the same thing, try to change the name. So a whole lot of brand name and what is the content, different brand name, but what is the content is the same thing. About in a particular, we are talking about the sappermentrin in the Nigerian market. I'm very sure there are more than 1,000 brands of sappermentrin. And what you just do is cypacking. It does not mean you are buying Avestrin. It's not sappermentrin. It's still sappermentrin. All right. So another thing that I'm trying to I highlighted there is the type of pesticide. Is the pesticide, is it fungicide, or is it fungicide, or is an insecticide, or is an herbicide, or is an nematicide? It will indicate at the end of the day. The next thing is the target pest and the register crop. What crop is this? Can this target? Because not all pesticides are suitable for all the crops, except from the broad spectrum. And it's just few broad spectrum that we have in Nigerian market. And majority of the broad spectrum, they are highly poisonous, right? All right, so what is the composition? So what is the composition of this product? In the product, you will see the active ingredient and the number. The active ingredient, you can come and look around here. The concentration actually is the concentration of our active ingredient. That's WP. I'm trying to show us here. W means wettable powder. You can see EC. EC means emulsified concentrate. Different formulation that you see in a pesticide. All right, there'll still be another one that it will tell you the caution. Don't joke with the caution. You need to be very safe, or you need to save your farmers when they are spraying, right? You need to read, they don't care. They can. When I was in the north, I know of a farmer that told you that cause of intoxication is manwood is not working again, right? Because he has inhaled a lot, he has a lot of things that penetrate through his skin, and his manwood cannot function again, right? Cause of every dose of pesticide in him, right? So registration number is very unique product number showing that it is approved to use, right? It is very, very important. You need to read, look around this before you start, maybe before you buy or before you start using. All right. So what is the quantity of the product? Sorry, quantity of the product, is it 50 grams? Is it 100 grams? You see it at the end of it all. You see it. Then everything under here, maybe I'll still show us in the safety precautions, just showing the safety precaution in this down part. So you will see direction for use, crop pest dosage, direction for it will be there. You see the crops, target crops, you see the pest that is targeting, you see the dosage, you see the mixing and dilution of the product, time of application. It will tell you if it is compatible or incompatible with some particular, because I know a lot of farmers, they just mix, science students mix A plus B plus C and they're going to go and spray, right? They will tell you because there are compatibility or incompatibility of each chemical, because they will be reacting. One will dominate, it will dominate, another one will be recessed. Application method will tell you maybe you have to chemigate, or you can spray foliar or stuff like that. Please always follow the direction, always. All right, so re-entry period. With re-entry period can tell you the time you are allowed to enter after spraying. So if you spray, and another thing, re-entry period can tell you maybe you spray, maybe re-entry period is 4 hours, right? after 4 hours, they tell you to re-enter prayer, but they will start that one. I didn't put it, they will start it. It's telling you that after you spray 4 hours, if rain or anything external control happened to that thing that you sprayed, maybe rain fell, after 4 hours, they said re-enter prayer is 4 hours. Maybe after 3 hours, rain fell. It's telling you that everything that you sprayed, right, it didn't work. Just go back and go and spray, right? E.g., it can be 12 hours. The one that they didn't start, just know that it's down before you can enter the farm, right? It is 12 hours after you spray. Then pre-harvest interval. These are time to wait. Please don't spray anything yesterday and harvest today. Please, there are always guidelines. Please check the pre-harvest interval. I know, like for example, in our farm, the block that we are harvesting today, we have started harvesting almost, I think, over 30 days ago, if I'm right. Yes, over 30 days ago. And 2 weeks earlier, before that time, we have not been spraying because our last pesticide, that's fungicide that we would usually spray on the farm, it ends either in 7 days. But for us, we take extra caution to leave it another 1 week. I will not spray. And it does not mean that I will not spray, I will not harvest good yield. We have not been spraying that particular block for over 30 days, and we have been harvesting. That's tomatoes. We'll be harvesting every 4 or 5 days, and we have been harvesting. We did not touch it with a single sprayer, right, because we are harvesting. Please take note of this. Don't spray before, don't harvest before any pre-harvest interval of any application, right? First aid, I think I don't have time again. First aid, you need to check around this, then you need to check around the storage and disposal. Let me just run. So pesticide label, look at this pictorial view, use your glove. Look at the A, always follow the dosage in the label to avoid mixing two or more pesticide products, right? Read it. If it is compatible, they will let you know. B, you can see the way they are. This is when they are pouring, this is when they are mixing, this is when they are putting it. And I see a whole lot of mistake when we are spraying. Some of us will just we take the sachet or the pesticide you just mentioned and pour it in the knapsack sprayer, and we use our back to shake it, and they will tell our boys to go and spray. It is not the right idea. Mix everything in the drum, right? Have a big drum. When you have a big drum, mix everything. If they tell you it is 4 liters per hectare, that's the recommendation. Mix the volume of water, that's spray calibration. Know the calibration of your boys. If it is 20 times, your boys will spray 1 hectare. That is the number of times. Just calculate it, how many liters of water is 20 times. 15 times 20, get the answer. Then you now mix that particular dosage with the right amount of water. That's what they call sprayer calibration. So before, the way you carry it is a practical section. Sprayer calibration is a practical section. It is not good theoretically, but I'll still go an extra mile to explain, right? If the SWOT, we call something SWOT, what you can cover in 1 second, it is we call it 1 meter per second, right? So if your boys can achieve that, but before they start moving, you need to, okay, in 1 minute, let them agitate, let them press it in 1 bucket. When you are trying to do sprayer calibration, in 1 minute, how many liters of water can your boys discharge? Always it is 1 meter per second. That's how they move. So in that seconds, how many liters of water can they discharge? You can use that to get your sprayer calibration. Although it's a practical section where you need to be on the field that you can see by your face. But I'm very sure some fast people and installers will be able to get my explanation. All right, so next, the right timing. Please always check around the weather. If the day is too cloudy, don't waste your time, right, that you want to spray, right? Check around the wind, right? Check around the wind, check around the wind coming. Is it towards, always don't spray against the wind. It will blow you. Spray along the wind. As the wind is blowing, let it be blowing front. Don't let it blow it towards the direction of the sprayer. All right, so check the right time. For me, I recommend don't spray in the hot afternoon, spray in the evening. That's where we spray in our farm. Does not mean that you cannot spray early in the morning. If you are spraying early in the morning in dry season, you are putting more pressure of environmental factor to your crop. All right. So please don't delay spraying. If you just know, you notice palm. For us in the farm, we don't spray, we don't see. But we need to see 0.0001. If we spray 0.0001, we take it to all the crops. For example, maybe I see one caterpillar. The one caterpillar I see on the farm make me justify to spray. I don't do all this protocol thing. Day one, spray this. In day 15, you spray this. I don't do it, right? And I don't recommend us to do it because you are stressing those crops, right? If there's nothing, if you don't see, I know there are rules of prevention, right? There are mind chemicals that you can use. You are looking around prevention. It does not mean that it's not control. If I see 1%, right, or 0.0001%, does not mean that it has entered my farm. I will still try and prevent the others, right? But don't let it be too late before you spray. All right. All right. So always look around this and the caution and the PPE. PPE is personal protective equipment. Please, you need to get it for your boys. I go to some of the farms I visit. I see a whole lot that your boys, you buy it or your boys don't want to wear it. Please always ensure that they wear it. If they fall sick and they can't work for 1 week, it will tell on the effort that they need to put on the table on your farm. All right, so always check if the nozzle is leaking. Look around the good nozzle. If you are spraying herbicide, it is in, let me use my hand. Herbicide, you see herbicide direction towards this very flat, right? The swat. If you want to use either fungicide or insecticide, then you can use a round nozzle. If you're using herbicide, you use a flat nozzle. Please allow them to be using a regulator. Yeah, I have mentioned regular calibration is a skill. You need to train your farm hands on how they need to do around calibration. All right, so please use a separate sprayer for herbicide. Don't give them condition that they need to go and wash and spray herbicide. Separate herbicide from a fungicide or insecticide sprayer they need to do. Please, their PPE, we call it 7/7. Number 1 is their hand glove. Number 2 is their shield or their nose cover. Number 3 is their overall. Number 4 is their gum boots. Number 5, you can see, is a nose mask, right? Number 7, you can see that it is a respirator that you call it 7/7, right? At least you cannot even afford 7/7. Please do maybe 5/7, or you do a minimum 5/7. At least do the shield, you can do the respirator, you can do the gum boot, you can do the overall. Then you can just pick 7. I'm very sure there are particular 7. Sorry, 5 out of the 7 you can pick. And I'm really running because of my time. Right hygiene, please watch after spraying. Please wash your hand. Don't joke with it. Do not smoke. Don't allow your boys to smoke. Educate them. Do not smoke, drink, or eat during or in between spraying. Wash working clothes separately. Please don't wash the one that you used to work. Don't wash it with the one that I used to wear normal. Please don't wash them together. You need to take this cognizance for what you are using as a safety. All right, please keep locked away where you are keeping your pesticide. Make sure they are locked, or you have them in separate container or separate cabinet where they don't just go. And do not reuse puncture. Do not reuse puncture the container. Okay, the container that they use at the end of the day, please. I know some Maboki, they will just come later. The Fulanis, they will go and wash and they'll put water when they are trying to flock away or flock around. They use it. I see it a lot. Chemical plastic. Instead, they have washed it. They are using it to take water. All right. I think I need to run. I have one more slide. All right, this is my last slide. where I was trying to talk about the mode of action. This is very, very important. A whole lot of this active, we don't have it in Nigeria. The insecticide group runs from 1 to I think 28, right? But some of them we don't have it in the Nigerian market. I just put the one that we have. the one that we have in 1A, that's Kamabit. We don't have any active at all in Nigeria. We don't have any active at all that I mentioned here in Nigeria. No company is doing what is the 1A. All right, so 1B is organophosphate, right? You can see chlorpyrifos, dimethylate, right? We have it in Nigeria. I think this is the two that I've seen in our market. So imagine you are trying to spray and you buy this different active ingredients in the market and you spray, maybe interchange, maybe you spray this one with one, you spray this one with two. I'm just trying to tell you that you are spraying the same class. With time, insects will build resistance to this same insecticide you are spraying. So you want to spray successfully, you need to interchange from 1A, from 1B, maybe you need to go to 3A, and it is taking care of the same insect. If it is whitefly and you have read that lambda cylothrin will take care of whitefly, please, if you have sprayed lambda cylothrin, don't go and spray sapermethrin. Don't go and spray bifenthrin. Don't go and spray dentamethrin. I know we have all the one I'm mentioning. We have it in. You need to just pick one from this class, then go to another class. You can come to 4A and pick maybe imidacloprid, or you pick acemetoprid, or you pick tamezozan, and just pick one from different active. Sorry, from different classes. Not that you want to spray caterpillar. We know emamectin benzoate can take care of caterpillar, and emamectin benzoate you spray week one, or maybe on Friday you now spray abamectin. You cannot, with second spraying, they will be resistant because they are in the same class, or they are in the same group. I think with that, I've come to the end of this class. I will appreciate, I think you'll be able to pick one or two things from this and you just go and use it for free on your farm. Thank you for your rapt attention. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dami. Thank you. In about 30 minutes, you have put so much in us, and it just seems a lot to take in. But I thank you very much, and we all thank you. So we would like to have your questions. If you have questions for Mr. Adetola, please send your questions via chat, or if you'd like to speak or make a comment, please raise your hand using the raise hand function, and we would have you speak. We will unmute you to speak. But I received two questions privately. And the first one says, can you give us more explanation on the re-entry period of pesticide? So I think you need to talk a bit about the re-entry period.
All right, so thank you. About the re-entry period, I said there are two kinds of re-entry period that I need to note. One, they start, and the other one, they don't start. They don't asterisk. I mean asterisk, that's what I mean by start. So the one they don't asterisk, they are just trying to tell you that if you spray 1 o'clock, it will take you 12 hours before you can enter the same farm. So it has to be 1 o'clock, either the next day or 1 p.m. or sorry, 1 a.m. The following preceding time. There are some that is just 4 hours, that you just see that after 4 hours that you have applied, please don't apply, don't get to the farm in 4 hours. That one, they don't asterisk. But the one that they asterisk, they're trying to tell you that's what is in our, majorly the one in Nigeria formulation or Nigerian packs. You see, they will tell you the entry period is maybe 5 days. That one you see in days, you not see in hours. Re-entry period, okay, I think that one you can understand, you can note. The re-entry period after you cannot enter your farm to be in hours or maybe max 1 day. But the other re-entry period where shorter hours, sorry, the one that they were asterisk, I think I'm mixing it up. The one that they were asterisk, they will tell you after you have sprayed, right? Maybe they're not telling you entry period is 4 hours or 6 hours. After you have sprayed and there was rain. They are trying to tell you, past January, that everything you spray, the plant have not absorbed it, right? It has not worked. The regulation is that particular one needs to maybe systemic to contact pesticide. You can connote that. After 4 hours, so systemic will tell you after 4 hours, that's when the plant can have taken this the product or the substance that you have sprayed, right? The substance that you have sprayed in that particular time, it is in the 4 hours that it will start working in the system of that particular plant. So anything that comes after 4 hours, it will have effect, right? All of us will know systemic. Systemic is when you apply it, it goes to the system of the plant. Then anything that attack the plant, we will definitely take the substances and they will die, right? So maybe after you have sprayed, then they said the rain period is 4 hours, and you now sprayed, and rain now fell maybe 3 hours, 30 minutes. 3 hours, 30 minutes, and rain fell. So when rain fell, it's just telling you that that's unlikely, I know. But for me, if it is if it's 1 hour different, my boys, if there is rain, we have sprayed though. But normally, it have to be time value of what is being specified in that pesticide that you need to follow, right? So that's the two kind of entry period that it is in the label of the pesticide. Thank you.
Thank you so much. There's a hand raised. Host, can you please unmute Seek Ye First the Kingdom? And while they're doing that, there's a question from Memi Adiola Dibo's farm. And she says, what is the advice on fertilizer application used 2 to 4 days before harvest of products, e.g. cucumber, tomatoes? So fertilizer application used 2 to 4 days before harvest.
Okay. During harvest, right, especially for only water, the best I can really recommend is just to give it water. But if you have seen a defect, and that's why you can, if you know, if there's a defect, for example, when you're harvesting and you are seeing something purple in the plant, is popping, maybe tomatoes, you can come to cucumber. I just tell you that it lacks phosphorus. And all of us will know phosphorus is very important during root formation in the beginning, right? But later on, it's not demanding for phosphorus. That's when you can, that's what really justify, because you are trying to manage the crop. For us, we don't, depend on the crop. Like you said, for cucumber is on the go, and they are heavy demanded for nutrients, right? And don't forget, there comes, if you are applying, maybe you are fertigating fertilizer, and the roots, number one, soil buffers it, right? Soil buffers the fertilizer you are trying to use at that particular point. Then from the buffering state of, and the plant will now use it in the available form, because plants will not take nitrogen as nitrogen, take it as nitrate. The simplest form for nitrogen, because it has broken down for plants to be able to use, so they can use at their immediate spot. That it is when it is needed. If it's not needed, just give water because you're harvesting. Then it'll be good. I know I'm not an analysis where they can analyze maybe the plant is toxic or is not toxic. But for me, the class of today is talking about pesticide. If you are spraying pesticide when you're harvesting, you are really giving those people chemicals to eat, right? Please don't spray chemicals when you're harvesting. So, but fertilizer, if it is needed, you can apply. I think for us, I think as harvest, we started saying some properly. The guys said they wanted to apply. I say it's waste of money, because at the end of the day, whatever we wanted to harvest, we have seen the food. It's not the new food that we want to harvest. It's the fruit that can develop. They can develop and get bigger and get ripened. It's not as if we want to start managing managing the crop at its where we need them to produce neem fruit. But for cucumber, I understand. Cucumber, they need to produce at a go, because the more you harvest, right, the more the smaller ones will get developed. I don't know, maybe you are satisfied with my my answer. So one is that know the fertilizer that you want to use, and when plants will take up those fertilizers, they will take it in their available form. They will not take it as raw as you are spraying. If as soil as pesticide will take it as raw. But fertilizer, there's buffer effect in the soil. After buffering effect, the plant is going to use it in their available form.
Thank you so much, Damilola. You know, we're talking about these things, and majority, like I said during the introduction, majority of the farmers do not even know they don't even read the labels. So a lot of things are not being done in the proper manner. In order to protect consumers and the environment, what do we do? How do we ensure that these toxic, I put it in quotes, poisonous fruits do not get to the market? Because if I spray like she asked, and 2 days after I harvest, then some people are going to buy it and eat it. And we may be selling poisonous produce to them. How do we ensure that this is not done in order to protect ourselves, protect consumers? Because these days you hear that somebody died at one age of cancer, or a lot of untimely deaths due to what they consume. Is there something we can do?
Self-education is, as a group, as we are telling ourselves, is one of the things that it's just a truth that we need to just tell ourselves, and we just need to know and we carry out, not because we want to make all the money and maybe we lost in a particular year and want to keep up the loss the following year, and you just need to, right? And that's what we wanted to do, right? And another part of it, I like the part of people going organic. I do both. I do both organic and inorganic. I do it on my farm, and they might say, I'm not an organic farmer. Just let me say that I'm not an organic farmer, but we don't dish out poison to populace, because I said something. So all farmers need to go with this mindset, right? It's a mindset, because we don't have a regulation. There's no control. If there's a regulation or there's this trace, we can't be doing this, right? Because you will not be able to sell it. If you want to sell something to Europe, right? For example, because I've been privileged to sell something to Europe, right? And they have to test that control, phytotoxic effect or test. They need to do it before they can bring package and be sent to Europe, and that is not in Nigeria, right? So those are the options that we have that we can put in place for that kind of a thing not to go to the system. But the system is weakened, so the only thing is just for us to encourage ourselves as farmers to just go through this rigorous, their rigorous activities, reading labels. It takes part of your time, but it is very, very essential. Very, very, for my farmer, and I'm the one that is doing everything. Aside that, I have assistant agronomist as a staff, right? That I just dish out the information. This is what they will do, and if I'm not in the farm, I will tell the person to read, even if I don't know what is at the back. Read. Let us deliberate what is at the back. Or at times, if I'm not there, I'll just go and go with that pack side to read everything and tell them the information that they need to do. So please, we need to, by ourselves as collective and individual farmers, we need to go with this orientation and mindset that we are not circulating this poisonous food to the market. I know it goes a long way. Nigerians, what we only abide on is regulation, but it's not until only there's a legal way of doing things before we do what is right. It's what is right, right? And I think we should just do what is right as a farmer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we will continue this series so that we continue to enlighten and educate ourselves on this. I think it's very important for us as farmers, because people entrust us. We're entrusted with feeding the nation, and we don't want to feed them poisonous produce. So I think we will continue this series. Thank you very much for that. Can we take Seek Ye First, the Kingdom? The hand has been up for some time. Host, please unmute Seek Ye First, the Kingdom, after which we will take a comment from Femi.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
The question I want to ask is this. There is one particular insect that used to disturb watermelon, cucumber, and the insect look like a fly. So it's not sucking, and it's not using mouth, but it has a bottom, just like a needle. And you peck it on a watermelon or cucumber, and it pollutes we excrete maggot into the food. It's always in watermelon, cucumber, even in orange, it's struggling, and immediately they are not always settled in the farm, but immediately you flip the insecticide, they may fly away, later come back. I don't use systemic on the farm. They will not use their mouth because it's what they will not use their mouth. They have in the ambush. So what kind of insecticide can we use for that? That's my question.
Well, likely as an agronomist, what we prefer at a particular time is pictures. And be able to see that picture, or we see the effects on the plant. Even if the picture of the plant, if you don't see the picture of the insect, but we see the pattern on the leaves or the plant, then we can be able to say, okay, this is what it is disturbing you. All right. So I placed some pictures because you said it is cucumber. I think I have some insect that affect cucumber on my screen. If you can see, or you know one, or maybe that is it, you can speak, then we can tell you what you can use if it is there.
No, the insect affect the fruit, not the leaf. The fruit. It's always the new or the developed fruit.
Likely is caterpillar. Likely.
Likely. Not a caterpillar. The insect look like a bee, but not bee. It look like bee, but not bee.
Okay, maybe fruit fly. It might be fruit fly. I don't know. I don't know until I see. Maybe I see the fruit, or we see the insect.
You are right. It's fruit fly.
Likely.
Yes.
To take your fruit fly, you need to take your fruit fly even before. I don't know, maybe you have before you can see fruit fly as affecting your farm. It's not until the fruit have been developed, right? The fruit fly have been there, but the activities is not being noticed because they attack more of the fruits, and because there's no fruit, you will not see the activities, right? So if you want to take your fruit fly, like I said, if you are planting cucumber, make sure after you have sprayed or you are taking care of them, please don't sell that first harvest because it's a toxic, right? Don't sell it, or you need to wait. You need to wait till the pre-harvest interval. Maybe they say it's 4 days or 5 days. There are some chemicals that is just their mind. Maybe there are 7 days. There are some systemic that they are mind. There are 7 days pre-harvest interval. But for us, we still go extra 1 week, right? For us not to even harvest that particular fruit at all. For us not to give people poison, right? Thank you, sir, for the question. Next question, ma.
What is the solution, sir?
It really depends. It depends on the stage of that particular crop. Like I said, what we are saying is not to give people toxic or anything that is poisonous to the society, right? So when you notice it is when you're about to harvest, you can spray, but please don't give that particular harvest to people, right? You can throw it away, or you can first harvest, then after you harvest, you spray, then you delay your harvesting. When you get to any agro store, you can see pesticide that can take care of fruit flies. They are there. Maybe imidacloprid classes, they can take care of it. Then you cannot take care of one contact, one systemic. If you are doing two spray, you'll be good, right? Maybe imidacloprid, then you go for another class that will take care of that particular insect that you are targeting. Then maybe in 1 week, you can combat it, you could. Then you just need to now wait a little bit, maybe 1 week or 10 days of pre-harvest interval, then before you now start harvesting for people to consume. Depend on the toxic effect of the pesticide you are using. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Seek ye first the kingdom, you can unmute and ask your question. Host, please unmute Seek ye first the kingdom. The hand has been raised for a while.
Maybe still struggling with that, we can take Femi.
Okay. Femi.
Okay, thank you. Femi speaking now. Please, concerning the labels, the one that you labeled poison, danger, please, can you show that slide if possible? Okay, so those categories. So for the category 1, poison, danger, and the likes, I have 2 questions. The first one is this poison and the danger, is it the effect, is it on the person spraying, or is talking about the effect on the crops? And then if we notice this now, do we have to, okay, maybe I see one as category 1 and the other maybe category 4. I say, okay, for category 1, let me maybe reduce the concentration because they say it's very poisonous. So maybe I should reduce the concentration, or how do we go about that? So the effect, is it for the plants or for the person spraying, or do we have to reduce the concentration based on the kind of signal or label we see at the back? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Femi. All right, so for the first question, just telling you that it's relatively poisonous to people, right? That it is when they touch you, it is, or for the person that is spraying, right? Not to the crop, because everything is being addressed to cater for the crop, right? So it's just telling you that. But for us, we advise that anything that is highly poisonous, like this red, right? Please don't spray it later. Maybe highest, maybe you can use it as your, we call them broad spectrum pesticide, right? It's maybe before you plant, or maybe highest 3 weeks, or 3 weeks highest. Maybe if the crop get delayed like pepper, you can use that 4 weeks. Then please don't use it again. But because it is highly, even to human being, when you inject it, right? When you inject it or you touch your body, they will tell you go and use either oil or use water. Use a whole lot of water to wash before you can before you not see the effect on your body, right? So that's why the label is there. At least the one that I see that is green is still like little bit woman friendly, but there's no chemical that is woman friendly. Don't joke with any chemicals. Then your second question, always go by the dose, the recommendation of what is in the label. That's the producer. Always go by the recommendation. So for the category, why we say that you should not use everything on the same category is that because something mode of action, I've said it, not for the crop to, insects or pest to build resistance, right? Because if you are spraying, it's not as if one would die. After one, maybe you have 5 insects in a particular farm. When you sprayed something in the same class, maybe 3, it will take care of 3. The remaining 2 will still be there. The remaining 2 will still metamorphose and turn to 5. So when you spray again, same class, another active ingredient, 3 likely die again. After 3 likely die again, the same one that they didn't die, maybe the gene has not been there. So when you now still spray, maybe they still metamorphose and give birth, and they are now 7. So when you keep spraying that same thing, they will not die because they are built resistant over time, right, to what the particular thing you are spraying over and over again. So go for the recommendation. Then we call it interchange, not mix. Not mix, please. Interchange. Thank you.
Thank you so much. There's a question here. Chinedu says he would like to have a copy of the lecture. If you would like to have this recording sent to you, please send your email address via chat. We will send a copy of the recording to everybody. Thank you. Chinedu's question is this: harvest of bell pepper in greenhouse is done twice a week to avoid decay of the ripe pepper. Meanwhile, you need to spray herbicide within the week. How do you manage that?
All right, so pesticide, what it means is pesticide. For just the pity that what we have in our Nigeria system, right? So we don't have something that can control that, right? You should know when you want to spray and you know when you want to harvest, right? So there are a lot of, like I said, we enter period of pesticide that are 3 to 4 days. Sorry, pre-harvest interval, 3 to 4 days, and majorly they are systemic. In fact, you get closer to them, they will not be smelling. You will not even hear any particular scent. They are R&D products. They are not generic. They are not the particular way they need to meet, get the money. Don't let me say something about say a lot about the science. You might not really be able to understand. But they are R&D. Their research and development, those are the things that you need to spray when you're harvesting. Maybe 2 days. But number one, maybe cost. Number two, availability. Might not even be available in the market. But if you are going through that particular venture, nothing costs you to maybe import or ask anybody. If I want to go through a particular production phase, right? The production that we want to do in 2023, we'll start planning maybe in August. All our inputs, so we search our friends in East Africa, our friend in other African countries, or even the one in Europe. At least we read and we get inputs that they are using to maximize their yield. Then we start incorporating that kind of it. So somebody that wants to go through that kind of production phase should be able to be ready, right? To understand that they don't need to give people poison when they are harvesting. Thank you. So I've asked a question. There are a lot of pesticides that their pre-harvest interval is just 2 to 3 days that you can use.
Thank you so much. Chinedu, he just answered your question. Do you still want to speak? Because I see your hand raised. I don't know if it's the same question or.
Yes, it's sorry, ma'am. It's still on the same question. I want some practical guidance. Because what he's saying is the truth. If, for instance, we buy Mite Force or the abametins in your shop, and we spray maybe 2 times a week, and you harvest maybe on Monday and Thursday, practically. In between, you need to spray to avoid the mite attacking the pepper. So how do you begin to live 3 or 4 days? Because if you don't spray, the insect is going to come back and then finish your crop. You understand? So, and if you don't harvest at the same time, they will keep ripening and they'll keep ripening. So how practicable is it to have it to wait for 3 days within the week? If you use something like Mite Force or Horizon that will buy from you, or a la carte, is it such products? Can you spend 3 days, or the reality is you 2 days only? Thank you.
All right, thank you. Well, such products, they are even generic. You might likely need to spend more than those days. All right. So it's because your focus only is in place on only chemical control. There are other controls measure you can. There are biological controls. There is IPM that you can use generally generally that you can, their biological method, their cultural method that you can put in place, right? From the beginning, right? I understand cultural method, you can do crop rotation. It's because you are doing, maybe you are doing pepper, order. That's why you keep having maybe trips in your kit year in, year out, right? There are things, maybe there are some particular times that you need just to do sanitation, that what you are going to plant around that time does not, you just need to break the circle of those particular insects. I know trips is very stubborn, right? But it has to be a recurring plant that you are planting. That's when you keep having same problem of, if you see, if you can go through a lot of farmers, for some farms that they are going out successfully. How do they do it? They do a lot of crop rotation. At times it might be bell pepper. A particular season, some of the kits might just be designated for only lettuce at that time because they want to rotate. No matter how the millions of trips on your kits, cabbage, they can't be disturbed by cabbage, right? If you are changing maybe with cabbage or with lettuce, with cauliflower, with broccoli, you need to rotate. You can't be using only sweet pepper on your kit. That's why you're having that same millions. There are even millions, over millions species of trips that you have. So if only your target is only you want to use chemical to chase them, you'll be giving people poison. If that's only your focus, there are other ways. And you need to incorporate it. That's why they call IPM, right? There are times that it's just only neem oil. In fact, for a kit that you are spraying twice in a week to control either mites or mites or trips. So that if you have done this particular production, please just stay away, do another crop, rotate like 2 other crops before you come back to come and do your pepper, because that particular kit has been heavily infested. Normally, you should be spraying maybe twice. So I say twice, once maybe in 10 days, ideally, or once in 10 days, or that's because of insecticide, once in 10 days, or max 1 in 8 days. I need to spray. If you start spraying twice in 1 week, that particular kit has been loaded with insects. I need to take care of it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Incidentally, I have 2 similar questions from 2 different people. So I'll just take one. It says, how long does it take fertilizer to be broken down and absorbed in the form the plant will use? So either foliar or granular.
All right, so just that we are going to fertilizer now, right? Fertilizer, it depends, right? Composition, it depends on the soil structure, depends on water movement in the soil. Then it really depends on the material that they use. You can't compare NPK with solid fertilizer that they will be very available at a particular point. But how about if the soil is the pH of the soil does not even allow the plant, right, to use that particular fertilizer that you apply at that particular point? What happens, right? Maybe your soil, it is basic. So your soil is acidic and you are still applying acidic fertilizer, which means it will just be there. Plants will not be able to use it. So you need to really look around that, look around the timing, right? So different soil, different soil, different material, that's fertilizer. What about the EC? So the answer, it is broad answer, right? That can really suit that. Broad EC, the EC is different, the EC of the water. What about the solubility of the fertilizer? What about the pH of the soil? So those are the things that I need to take in consideration before you look around the available form of a plant to use a particular nutrient.
Thank you, Damilola. We're running out of time, but I'd please like you to take this last question from Chimuba. It says, to reduce the number of times we spray, is it advisable to mix pesticides and fungicides?
Yeah, you can look around the compatibility. But for us as agronomists, we don't really, because we know you don't read, right? And Nigerian factor, a company might say they package something inside a particular package and something else that is there, right? So we don't really advise it. If you want to see me mixing anything in my farm, it will be either organic product and inorganic product that I know and I've tried. That's what you can see me mixing. Anything maybe mixing inorganic product to inorganic product, I don't mix such product at all, and I will not advise you to mix such product at all when you are spraying. Thank you.
Thank you very much. What does ECWSP or WP on the label mean?
EPWSP. EP.
ECWSP or WP?
All right. EC. EC means emulsified concentrate. You know, when you buy some, you know, it's just the carrier. I don't know how to explain this. It's just emulsified concentrate. You see in the form of oil, right? That's what will make the substance stick with the leaves before the plant, before the insect to come and take what will kill them. Let me just use that English. You know, some it's in form of vegetable powder, right? When it's in form of a powder, when they stick, with it will be on powder form. You know, sometimes when you harvest, you see something like powder in your hand. When you harvest some fruits, you see something like a powder in your hand. Just the content of that particular thing is powder form, right? So when you apply it, it will be like a powder form on either the plant or the fruit. So when the insect comes, they take it, right? But if it's emulsified concentrate, it should those ones they stick more to the plant because it's like oil. So something like oil coated thing on the plant. So those are the formulations. Yeah, they come in different formulations. That's what they mean.
Thank you very much. On a lighter note, I received a WhatsApp message from one of the participants in the webinar who says that they can't really understand all the scientific grammar of pests and pesticides. So I think next time we'd like to, there are lots of new farmers, rookie farmers, still planning to be farmers, will be farmers and all that. So maybe next time we'll try to come down a bit to everybody's level so that we can carry everybody along. And that's for you, Dami, and thank you very much. So on behalf of VD&S Farmer Center, we want to say a very big thank you to Mr. Damilola Adetola, first and foremost, for making out time, this time, out of his very busy schedule to be with us this evening. Dami is very, very busy, believe me. And most importantly, for enlightening us and educating us on pesticide usage on our farms. Dami, I have been so enlightened. I can only say thank you to you. And that is why I'm saying that we would have to continue this webinar series so that many people, many more farmers would understand what we're doing and we do it right. So we want to appreciate our sponsor, Know Your Farm Hands. And we want to say a big thank you to everyone who has taken time out to attend today's webinar. At VD&S Farmer Center, our aim is to positively impact farmers' lives and businesses. And we trust that we have been able to add value to you. For further questions and other clarification, please contact us at info@vdsfarmsonline.com. Thank you and God bless you. This seminar runs every month. If you'd like to be a part of our mailing list, please send us your email address and your telephone number so that we can always remind you of when we have seminars. If you'd also like a copy of the recording of this webinar, please send your email address to us on the chat right now. We'll still be on for a few minutes before we shut down the system. Thank you very much, everybody. Good night.
still steal from the people them wey dey work for you. Shey, the profit wey you dey make now no reach wetin you suppose dey make because people wey dey work for you no dey honest. Dem no just send you. We don carry Know Your Farm Hands come. Make you download Know Your Farm Hands app from Play Store on top your Android device. Come start to dey register your farm hands for free. If you don register on this app, you go fit verify the worker wey you get mind to hire to work on top your farm. Because farmers wey be like you don add each farm hand on top there and dem don talk wetin dem know about dem for DSF. The only thing wey you need to do na to put your information for there, open account, then just log inside the app. After that, if you click for the corner wey dey the bottom left, you go fit search for the farm hand wey you wan hire with their names, email and phone number until you see the farm hand wey you dey find. Farmers wey don work with the worker wey you get for mind to hire go flag them and then give you information as per the experience wey dem get with them. Make you sef register your own farm hands on top the app and you fit come carry their fingerprints put for there. Yes, this one go be like unique identification for each farm hand. Immediately dem don dey registered, just click on top flag to talk wetin you know about them. If you need help as you dey do all of this, just send email to support@knowyourfarmhands.ng abi make you phone 0705 3680 191 or 0809 091 5139. Sabi your farm hands make you for free from stress. Free from stress.